As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be.
Oh man, it's 8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a.
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Studio Goots. What's up, dude?
Victory Monday, beating those bum-ass Cowboys.
There's no better feeling in the world, especially watching. I don't know if I've seen them that bad before.
I really don't think I ever have, honestly, since like the COVID season, maybe.
Maybe
there was
that's
one
an
game,
asterisk, though.
That was a funny one, though, because it was a game in Philadelphia during COVID when only like 5,000 people were allowed in the stadium. So I went, and it was so quiet. It was so bizarre. And it was like, who was our backup quarterback? It was Josh McCown versus Cooper Rush.
Oh, my God.
It was awful. And it was like, I think it was a 12-9 game.
Nice.
Yeah, one of those. That's kind of what it felt like. Honestly, I didn't get the same excitement out of beating them.
I didn't either, but I loved watching them just collapse and burn. So to all of our Dallas fans that are listening, ha, Dallas sucks.
Loser. Better luck next year.
Yeah, wow. Smooth.
Better, yeah. I don't know. Nuck if you buck. But yeah, I don't remember where I was going to go with that. I don't know. Oh, wait, no, that actually is a good one. Somebody commented last week.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody left a review. That didn't make any sense to me.
I love this. This is my favorite review we've ever gotten.
It was a 2-star review, and it was, we have to sit here and listen to you guys drone on and on about the Eagles as if we care, but one guy pops up and he's a Texas Longhorn fan, and you guys have to skewer him, I'm out. First off, I'm a Longhorn fan.
That's where
Steele was giving me shit because Todd was wearing a Longhorn pullover last week, and I wanted to make a big deal out of it. So I'm a fan. I hope you're still listening.
If you are actually not listening anymore, that was my favorite review of all time because I successfully got to a Longhorns fan, saw him off short, horns down, baby. But yeah, that was a highlight for me. But little did they know, Shooter Magooter is a lifetime Longhorns fan. So we lost a listener
that one.
because we don't like the Longhorns, but turns out Shooter's a huge Longhorns fan. I have to hear about it every Saturday. He sends stupid memes to the group chat. And nobody cares about the Longhorns except for you.
Pretty much.
But we're not here to talk about that stuff. We're here to talk about a little bit of Salt Lake, a very good episode, a husband-centric episode, which gets a little hairy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But it ended up being a solid episode. Also made me change my opinion about Todd.
Yep.
Very quickly, and could not be more on the other side of things now.
Yep.
But all in all, a great episode. And look, I'm feeling good. My baby slept. It's going to piss some people off because she's only a month old. 7 hours last night. 6 hours the night before. I'm not saying it's a new trend because I'm expecting the worst tonight. But there's no way to describe the feeling of just having a full night's sleep. And then I went to the gym and I did have a little hiccup though. I went to the gym this morning and I found this new place. It's been there for a while. Juicery on 4th in Conchi.
Okay.
So they make like smoothies and stuff, and it's been my new go-to spot.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, this is great. I've been getting like a banana, peanut butter, spinach, almond milk smoothie every day. Loving life. And they also do espresso, so I got a double shot of espresso. I was like, hell yeah.
Did you put it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
No. That was the problem, right? It sounds like that would
sounds
be the move.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
know. I think because of the temperature.
Peanut butter?
No.
Oh.
It went straight to the bottom because it was so much hotter than everything else.
Right.
So I started to mix it up, and I thought I had mixed it. I didn't. So I got like a spinachy, lukewarm espresso at the bottom, followed by the smoothie, and it ruined my whole smoothie, and I was really bummed.
Oh, no.
Yeah, not my best move. I thought, but right on paper.
I've done something like that before with bananas, but I put like oats or something in there too, that maybe the texture
oats
soaks up the espresso better.
I've done the espresso move before. I think
Yeah.
it was just because it was fresh out of the espresso
really
machine,
hot,
and it
yeah.
just like it fucked everything up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but tomorrow's a new day. I'll get another smoothie and report back to you guys.
My daughter slept for 7 hours last night. Here's something I want to complain about.
You know me.
I did it to myself.
Yeah, but hey, like I said, we're here to talk some RHOSLC, and this season continues to be good. The newcomer is Bronwyn in this one. I really like what she's bringing to the show. I think she's doing a really good job. And I'm just every week we have 3 shows right now that I look forward to. And that's not always the case. And so this is a time for our audience, for the Bravo audience at large, soak this shit up. This is not common. We usually have a couple of clunkers. Right now it's just Roni, and we got a lot of things on the horizon. So it's a good time to be a Bravo fan. And I would be remiss not to remind people to take it in while it's good, because we know we have our downturns. Remember the summer? It was tough.
No, this is a good time too, because when we post videos about certain shows, somebody will get into an argument in the comments saying this one's better than that one, this one's better than that one. Right now, there's not really a wrong answer. I will listen to all of your arguments about it. Obviously, keep Roni very far away from all of those arguments, because that's not a real show. The rest of them are doing so well, and I couldn't agree more. Every single time that we sit down and talk about these, it's almost like we used to say you're going to have a few clunkers in a season.
I don't expect it anymore.
I don't expect it. And that's a
problem.
dangerous game for us, because when we do get a clunker, we're either going to be delusional in saying that it wasn't a clunker, or we're going to be so turned off by it that we don't see it coming.
Yeah, we're just going to have like a complete spiral moment, and we're both like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do anymore. But we're not there yet. And with that being said, why don't we jump into this week's episode? And, before we get there, I will say, we've had way too many people in the comments saying, I'm one of those jerks that likes to listen to you guys hate Roni. All of you keep making us watch this show. We love you to death, but it's so very mean. I don't appreciate it, but we do appreciate you.
Real sickos out there.
Yeah, you're all a bunch of sadistic listeners. That's what you are. But reminding you, all of you, that tomorrow night, or tonight, I guess, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is our community Zoom. So if you want to jump onto a Zoom call with us for an hour and a half, we like to talk to everybody on there, so we make sure we do enough time for everyone to give their 2 cents, ask their questions. So tomorrow night is our community Zoom, like I said, Brav Bros members only. If you'd like to join it, sign up, click the link in our bio. $5 for the month, $50 for the year. Come join the fun. You get a weekly exclusive news recap. This week you get 2, because last week, given there was a little bit of a hectic week.
Things going on.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. So we didn't do one last week, so you get 2 this week. And lots of exclusive content. So if you want to sign up, link is in our Instagram bio or at the bottom of this episode description.
It is. And we are going to make you all raise your hands if you are one of the sick fucks that's making us watch.
Yeah, in the community Zoom tomorrow, we're going to ask. And if it's one of you, you have to tell us why.
Yep.
But without further ado, RHOSLC, let's discuss, because we have a lot to talk about this episode. Like I said, husband-centric, lots of dude stuff going on, but the majority of the husbands understand where they fit in, and that's what I appreciate. They say...
Very important note.
It is, because they all say amongst each other, like, we're staying out of it. It's not our fight. We have a pact. There's a brotherhood, which I thought was actually really fucking funny, but it's good. That is the correct mindset to have, especially when they're pushing, like, that's not their fault the cameras are focused on them. But they're handling it well, because they're not diving into the bullshit, except for one idiot that we're going to talk about. But we start out with Meredith and Lisa. They're having a little spa day, and Heather joins to give her side of things in the Bronwyn conversation. And she says that she was invited over there just so that Bronwyn could tell her what a shitty person she was, and then push her for an apology. Now, we watched this scene.
We did.
You watched it last week. What was your take on the Bronwyn and Heather? I know we talked about it last week, but like, I'm not seeing what she's saying.
I'm not seeing it either. I think that in terms of housewives sit-downs, especially one-on-one, this was one of the true events that could have gone either way. I think that Bronwyn invited Heather over thinking this could be a good resolution and it would result in you being invited to the trip. It might be an impasse, and maybe we'll just agree to disagree. You could still go on the trip, or you can stay home if you want to, or it could go the way that it went, where Heather ends up storming out. I think that from Bronwyn's perspective, and we talk about how she's playing the game a little bit better right now, and you can't really tell what her true motives are, when we're watching that scene and we're privy to the lead up to it, her conversations with Todd, her conversations with the other women on the show, it seemed like she was giving Heather a chance there. And while, she did beat around the bush a little bit on an apology, it's kind of par for the course for housewife apologies.
Right. That's kind of my point. I saw the same thing. Like, yes, her phrasing was intentional. She was saying, if I did that, I'm sorry. She wasn't taking full accountability. But like you said, in the housewives realm, a lot of times that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
she did extend an olive branch. Whether it was a little bit prickly or not, there was an olive branch there to be grabbed. And I feel like Heather walked into the house with a vendetta. She's like walking in there. I'm not.
Why am I here?
She wasn't ready to hear anything Bronwyn had
Right.
to say. And again, I understand that Bronwyn wasn't totally forthcoming with the whole thing. She was beating around the bush, like you said. So I get where there could be a discrepancy. But if you want to be on the trip, if you want to smooth this over, which I don't know why you wouldn't, especially with a newcomer, that could have went 5 different ways, but you picked destruction and you wanted to walk out of there and storm out and then call these two or go and meet with Meredith and Lisa and say, oh, it was a disaster. She's a nightmare. I'm not included on this trip. She wanted me to beg for my breakfast pretty much. Like, fuck her. And I think that that's such a bizarre move. I just don't understand. Maybe is she threatened by Bronwyn?
I don't know if she's, I think that could be part of it for sure. I think that this could have gone a completely different way if Bronwyn had cleaned up the poop that her dogs left behind.
And the pee.
And the pee. I think that that had a huge impact on the whole thing, because if I walked into a house like that and I smelled pee and poop everywhere, I would be a little thrown off too.
I agree with
Definitely thrown off. I think that something that I was thinking of is Bronwyn decided to do this in a way of come over to my house, so she's essentially playing a home game. Maybe you do this
home field advantage,
neutral
right.
site, or
Yeah.
you go see Heather or whatever you're going to do and try to talk from that perspective instead of you need to come over and allow Heather to say, I'm coming over to grovel. I'm coming over to earn my breakfast, as she so put it. It's just, it seemed like Heather came in there with one mentality, which was, why the fuck am I here? Like, why are you inviting me over to your house to talk about this? I just think that we don't really see eye to eye. And Bronwyn invited her over thinking, this could go any way, but I'm going to be open to whatever it goes.
That's fair. That's fair. What I didn't expect to get from this is Lisa being like, yeah, you know what? I'm a little bit put off by Bronwyn as well.
Of course she did. It's about Lisa.
But bro, the reasoning, I was like, what? Because she asked you if JB husband boss and Justin would be cool on the trip. She was like, the way that she said it, she was implying that it was John's fault. And I was like, I didn't get that. I know we only got like a small clip, but all I heard her say was, are you sure everything's cool? Like this isn't going to be a problem?
Yeah.
That pissed off Lisa enough. And we know how Lisa operates. When she's not cool with you, she's still going to play along, but there's going to be so much stank on everything that she's doing that it becomes brutally honest or brutally obvious that she's not happy with you. And that's what we get when they go on the trip. But I just thought that was so funny. And her reasoning behind it's like, of course JB husband boss is going to be fine. He's a CEO. It's like, what does that have to do with anything?
It has nothing to do with anything at all. And in that moment, obviously, we didn't get the reciprocal of that. We didn't get the conversation with Whitney and Justin.
Right.
Saying, hey, are you guys going to be cool with Lisa and JB? Probably not.
We got it later.
We got it a little bit later, but that's only because Whitney wants a rich friend. So let's be very honest about
She made it very clear.
The comment that she made later is fucking hilarious.
It's nice to have friends like that. Ew.
There, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, we don't like that at all. I think that knowing what we know now and seeing Todd at the end of that episode and seeing Todd last episode talking about this whole thing, he wants nothing to do with any of this. I don't think he understands what kind of show he's on.
He has no idea.
He has no fucking clue. I think that he probably said to her, like, look, I don't want any nonsense on this trip. You better make sure that they're good. And she's like, okay, like, I'll check in. I thought the same thing as you. I thought that it was innocuous. I thought that it was just making sure that she was good so that there wasn't any issues on the trip.
That's what I
It had nothing to do with passing the blame over to you guys.
No.
Because that would be insane.
No, it had like literally nothing to do with it. But we do get a little setup for possibly next episode. Nothing comes of it this episode because Heather's not there, obviously. But I guess something to do with Meredith, that Sean, Angie's husband, made a statement about Brooks on a podcast. I don't know why
So many
Sean's
fucking podcasts.
Why is Sean on a podcast?
I don't know, dude.
Like what are we talking to Sean about? Is if it's like a hair care or like hairstylist one, sure, but if it's a Bravo one, no shade. But
They didn't say which podcast it was, right?
no.
It's probably Adam. It's probably up at Adam, I'm
Just wanna
sure.
keep poking. You just
I mean, like, let's be honest though. Probably.
let's do a little Google.
Oh, it was behind
it's
the
behind
velvet rope.
It was that. Yeah, that makes sense. That's not surprising. Okay. Yep. Yeah, nailed it. Okay. So now we know.
Yep.
Yeah, so he went on a podcast for I don't know why, but I guess he went on there. It says that he was there to chat all about this current season of RHOSLC, what it's like to be one of the season's central storylines. Is it? Okay, whatever. We could do this all day. But the point is, I guess he went on this podcast and said that Meredith uses Brooks, her son, to deflect.
Mm-hmm.
We stand firm on rule number 1 here. Leave the kids out of it. I don't know why Sean's taking shots at Meredith. I guess to defend his wife. I don't know why you go on a podcast and do that. That seems like a weird move to me. Meredith brought it up to him at the party last week, and to Sean's credit, he at least was like, that's what I get from it. So I appreciate that he stood his ground on it rather than backpedal and be like, no. Like, I just don't know why?
Yeah, I really don't understand what it even means.
I don't really either.
I don't get
What are we
it at all.
missing? Like, what do we not see?
I think I would have felt a little bit better about all of this if Meredith just said, I don't understand what the reference even means, because I don't get it. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about.
I don't either.
And it's not like he's alluding to something darker or stranger out there, that something weird's happening. It just made no sense to me.
Mm-mm.
It was honestly very similar to Lisa calling out Angie, saying that you just hang up with me because you got to go talk to your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really mean anything. You're just throwing the kid out there for the sake of getting a rise, I guess.
There's been a lot of kids being thrown to the bus in a lot of shows this season.
No more.
Yeah, I'm not
like
here
it.
for it. It's the low hanging fruit. It's easy to piss people off using it, and it's just let's not do that. But it's also the second time that Angie or somebody accompanying Angie has made a comment about children.
Yeah.
It's starting to add up.
Dude, gone are the days that you could just insinuate that somebody's cheating on someone else.
Yeah,
Those were the
that's the
days.
easy one, right? But anyway,
Make some more marriages up. Come on.
yeah, no. But let's go to Todd and Bronwyn, and we get a little update about the trip. Mary can't make it. She's spending the weekend with her son. Heather obviously isn't coming, and this is the first kind of glimpse you get of Todd. Like, really Todd, because Todd's like, good, I don't want any drama this weekend, but it's very stern. It was not really how you talk to your partner. It was more how you talk to a subordinate. It was just very, boom, good, no bullshit.
Somebody should have told them, don't do an anniversary trip on this show.
Not with the crew.
Like, it just made no sense. I just don't understand this. And also, he was flying back from where?
I don't know.
Korea? I think he was in South Korea.
Was it South Korea?
Flying back from South Korea.
I thought he said there's a Japanese restaurant in his hotel.
Yeah, but he was in South Korea, but there was a Japanese restaurant in his
Okay.
hotel, because I made a weird note of that. So he's flying back and then is immediately getting back on the plane to go to Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like you're doing a lot.
It seems like you're doing a lot, and it's also interesting to note just how Bronwyn responds to him versus how she talks to other people.
Mhm.
And you'll see it much more later, but this was the first inkling I got where I was like, ooh, I don't love the way that they communicate. Don't love Todd in this scene.
Yeah.
We got glimpses of it last week as well, but yeah, it comes out full throttle later. But we're kind of checking in with everybody pre-trip, Sean and Angie, and the Lisa Barlow of it all, and Angie's relationship with her is still kind of on the rocks. And I like that Sean has Angie's back. Their relationship is strange. I don't know always where they stand, but I will say, because she's like, I've let her get away with a little bit. And he's like, you let her get away with a lot. And I'm like, yeah, all right, he's supporting her. That's cool. We check in with JB, husband, boss, and Lisa. Lisa's not excited for the trip. There's a lot of tension with there is unnecessary tension between her and Bronwyn now because Bronwyn, quote unquote, alluded to you starting it, which is not what she did at all. She's expecting an apology from Justin, which is stupid after that whole thing. You guys should just let it be what it is, just a wash. And then the whole thing is tied on a bow because she's still pissed off at Angie for the kid comment, which I get. And I do actually appreciate how much she took that to heart.
Yep.
Because you can tell she cares. And we've said that before. She's a good mom. We've seen it. And yeah, that had to suck to hear. But at the end of the day, Heather, there was no reason to take that information and tell her about it. I understand you're trying to cover your own ass because you knew it was going to come out on TV. I get that part of it. That was such a one-off venting moment from Angie that was not supposed to be this big deal. And now it's carried over 3 episodes and she's very torn up about it. And I just feel like it was one of those things that could have been avoided. It didn't need to happen. It's causing a massive rift between her and Angie K, which we know will not be repaired unless Angie... We're seeing right now why they have not come to terms yet because we know they're still feuding on social media. This is why. Because Angie is now putting her foot in the ground like, I'm not bending the knee to Lisa Barlow anymore. And the only way to make it right with Lisa ever, as we've seen time and time again, is if you admit all wrongdoing, apologize to her, prop her up on a pedestal, and she's the best. You're the best. I'm wrong. And Angie's not going to do that. and you're seeing why that's happening right now.
You might get a very thin apology from Lisa in return if you were to do that. So it's not really a good trade.
You'll get an I'm sorry, but.
Yeah, you'll get it, absolutely. Or just a laugh and like a quick I'm sorry and then moving on immediately. Lisa's really getting her work cut out for her, though.
Mm-hmm.
Is she going to continue down this path of getting mad at some person and then immediately just adding them to the roster of people that she's pissed off at? Because what? She has 3 ongoing feuds. How do you keep up with that?
You're going to run out of friends.
You're going to run out of friends, but also you're going to not really know how to react when people do things anymore because you now are creating a team against you.
Yeah,
Like,
but
they're going to start coming together. We're already starting to see that. And look, Whitney will latch herself onto anyone who is willing to maybe take a stand against Lisa Barlow with her.
sure.
But Angie is taking a stand. Now you're making an enemy out of Bronwyn, who's going to group together with Angie, and then Whitney's going to get thrown
That's
into the
a
mix.
tough team.
If you're, I don't want her to do this, but if she turns around and then she's mean to Heather, you're done.
You're
The
cooked.
rest of your season, you're playing defense, and you're only doing this to yourself because you're getting upset about the weirdest things. Like, yes, the Whitney thing, stay mad about that.
Sure.
Because that's insane and Whitney's crazy. Go after Whitney continuously. That's fine. The Angie thing you could easily forgive. Bronwyn you shouldn't have been mad at in the first place.
Correct.
It's like she's making it harder for herself, and I don't know. If anybody can handle it, it's Lisa Barlow. I just don't know how she's going to.
She's going to shrug it off and act like it's their fault.
Yeah.
The way that she says it later, and then everyone's going to apologize to me. It's like, you don't deserve any apologies right now, especially for your behavior later, which we'll get to as well. But I can see the couches now at the reunion. It's
Yeah.
going to be Heather, Meredith, Lisa, probably Mary, because she's a wild card, and you can stick her over there. And then on the other side, you're going to have everybody else going against them because you keep drawing lines in the sand. And I don't think that she's understanding how formidable of an opponent Bronwyn's going to be. Bronwyn is the first housewife on Salt Lake that successfully talked shit. Like, actually fluid, made sense. It was well said when she's like, oh, but I'm supposed to, what is it, ride your dick all day? I'm like, that, yeah, nicely done.
Nicely done.
Well
Very
said.
nicely
Well
done.
said,
And also,
smooth.
Bronwyn is bringing back luxury to housewife shows.
Big time.
When's the last time that we saw, and we go through Roni, OC, they went to London and they didn't do dick.
Mhm.
They walked around the streets. They didn't do anything cool and fun and super rich. They had etiquette lessons, which, you know, was kind of funny because they didn't actually go through with it. But we haven't seen real luxury in a while. Bronwyn goes, okay, I've got a private jet for us to go on. Cool, good start. And then this place is $20,000 a night.
A state
And
in
it's
Palm
fucking
Springs.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we need more of that. We haven't had that in years because we're just, you know, kind of shifting a little bit. Bronwyn is making a name for herself, and if you're going to push her, she's going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and you're going to team her up with Angie, who's standing alone, who's doing a really good job, who is center snowflake, and we're starting to see why. I think it was a misstep. I think it was a
still think
Lisa
it's-
Barlow misstep.
I still think it's a goof.
I
I still think they're messing with us.
don't know what to do with my hands. But we get on the PJ, we fly down, and we're in the car on the way there. This is when I was like, all right, dudes, I appreciate your stance on this because it's JB Husband Boss and Seth, and they're talking about the feuds going on and the Justin part of it. And Seth was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We got a brotherhood. This is a pact. We stay out of the business. Like, we don't go against each other. I'm like, that's the correct stance of husbands. That's what you're supposed to be. And that's the funniest part because this whole thing would be over if JB Husband Boss wasn't trying to protect his own ass. And that's exactly what it was. He's like, fuck, Lisa's going to see this. Oh, I need an apology for Lisa, though, too. If you left that part out of it, everyone would be cool now. All the dudes would be fine. There would be no more
I
drama.
can see that conversation, though, when he comes home and
Totally.
she asks, is he going to apologize to me?
Yeah, that was
Did you even bring that up?
First
No?
thing she asked.
Okay.
Yep.
Back to my phone.
Yeah, he's answering and she's typing. But on the flight, we get a little like quick cut back to the flight, and they're discussing Heather. And Bronwyn did not care for the way that Lisa's talking about it, the way that Meredith's talking about it, because they're very much in the camp of, well, we're Heather's friend, and she was upset about this, and I don't really know if like you saw her side of it. Like, we're just trying to make sure you guys are okay. But they're very, very much biased towards Heather, whereas like these were her feelings, and she told us about it. It's like, yeah, but at no point did you ask Bronwyn what happened, and now Bronwyn's going to have to force it and tell you what happened. You're like, I bet. So we're going to talk much more about that, like this double standard that's been there. But the fact that they're saying from Heather's point of view and that she was hurt by this conversation, it's a tough start. You're on Bronwyn's private jet flying to Palm Springs on Bronwyn's trip, and your first instinct, because this is what Lisa does, she gets pissed off about something and just starts dropping little crumbs, and this is the first one. on the private jet there, you're going to start talking shit and be like, we see Heather's
Yeah,
side.
I do love that though.
I do. Oh, it's great.
I think it's perfect.
It's great. It's
Be on
just,
someone else's private jet talking shit about them.
yeah, it's, I
That's
mean,
perfect for me.
it's not a bad move entertainment value wise.
Right.
Strategy wise, where I'm like, I don't know if this is
But
going to
she's
work
gotten
out.
away with it for so long that, you know what? I don't blame her for thinking she can do it.
That's fair. That's fair. But we get to the rental in Palm Springs, and you want to talk schwanky. We've seen some schwanky spots. This is Housewives of old. We're walking into this beautiful $20,000 Palm Springs estate, pretty much. There in the backyard, it looked like a natural pond.
Yeah, I
You
don't
could
know what
swim
the
in
hell
that
that
thing?
was because I thought they were going to keep panning out and it's going to be a huge pond. It was just a little
There's
natural
a little
pond.
pond there. You got a nice pool. There's just a big field in the back. There's
You
all
know
fun
what?
and games.
I would worry about algae and something like that. I don't think there was any algae.
There's
in
no
there.
way there
I
was.
think there's a self-cleaning, some sort of mechanism that does that for
Definitely.
you.
There's one of those stupid
Uh-huh.
trampolines that are in the water that never work.
Oh, I love those.
What do you mean? They don't
What do you
jump. You
mean?
can't jump on them. When have you ever gotten more than a foot of air on one of those things?
Every time I've been on one.
Bullshit. Every time I've
I was
gotten
on
one of
on
those.
I was on one on a lake like 2 years ago and got at least like 6 to 7 feet.
Bullshit. They don't
Was I
work.
drunk? Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So 1 to
Like,
2 feet.
no, I think the thing is you have to jump from a higher position to land on it and then you jump off. Like, you
That's a
can't just like propel
blob.
yourself.
You're talking about a blob.
Yeah, those blobs are great too.
Yeah, those are fun. I'm not talking about that. Every single experience I've had with a water trampoline, you jump on it. It doesn't do anything. It's just a big hammock, and then
When
everyone hangs
we
out.
met
on it.
at Tony Perkis's heavyweights camp. You know that you and I had a lot of fun on that blob.
I'm feeling skinny, Tony. The blob's a different thing. The blob's not the trampoline.
All right. I'll take that.
Step on the scale. Get off the scale. Gerald Garner, come on down. I gotta watch that. I watched
yeah.
it within the past couple. It holds up. It holds
Oh,
up
it definitely
very
holds
well.
up.
It's so good, and I love the conspiracy theory that Tony Perkis is actually White Goodman in Dodgeball later, and I think that, and also the nurse from Happy Gilmore.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great conspiracy. I'm all for it. But anyway, we're at the Palm Springs rental, and watching Seth have a full-blown meltdown about finding a bathtub is one of my favorite moments of this season, because that was
Very important.
it was genuine panic that was happening.
But the thing is, all of us in the audience are also watching before they even get there saying, wonder if Meredith's going to get her bathtub.
It's an important thing.
Yep, it's very important. We all know how important it is.
It's even funnier that in his confessional, he's like, look, I know this is the low-hanging fruit. Like, you even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that. But Bronwyn is already addressing the vibes between her and Lisa. She's already sensing something's going on, and she's confused even more so, because she's like, I already asked about the Whitney thing, and she said it was cool. The funniest part of this is it's not really even about inviting Whitney. It's about what you said on the phone. Are Justin and JB husband boss cool? So Bronwyn's not even on the right track as to why Lisa's upset, which is making it even harder. And I am furious at Lisa. Furious. Because the food in Italy is too fresh.
Yeah, that was probably the most insane take I've ever heard in my life.
In the history of takes.
You can't call it dumb. You can't call it. It's just crazy. to me.
Ludicrous.
I cannot wrap my head around that.
The food's
Who
too
the
fresh.
fuck do you think you are?
That is disparaging to the entire country of Italy.
That is anyone out there that's a huge Lisa stan. You need to try to defend that.
Yeah.
Because I won't hear it.
I can't hear it because look, when I was over there, I have such an affinity for Italian food already, and then especially eating fresh, real Italian food. It's like a little hug to your stomach every time. So Lisa, too fresh.
Too fresh is fucking insane.
Insanity!
And
Absolutely.
I need to
insanity.
know, and like I don't want to know more because it's already crazy. But I need to know specifically what she means. Is she talking about meat? Is she talking about the pasta? What is she talking about?
all of it. I think because she's used to chicken nuggets and Diet Coke from fucking McDonald's. That's crazy talk. That's crazy. I'm about to end this
Gets me
goddamn
really
episode
mad.
now.
Gets me really mad.
Ooh, I'm a hot.
Immediately taking Bronwyn's side.
Oh, absolutely.
after that take,
Even if
yeah.
she's totally wrong, because god damn it.
Yeah.
But
You can never take that back.
we get to meet Rocky, which awesome name, cooler spelling. Rocky is the jewelry dealer from LA that they made drive down to Palm
Yeah.
Springs with millions, not a couple million, $6 million total in jewelry.
And this was not the typical thing that we see in Beverly Hills where they can rent them or just have them on for a party.
This is to
This
purchase.
is a fucking anniversary present.
Yeah, that's fucking
And
nuts.
by the way, she had her dog that pisses and shits all over her house. wearing, what was it? It wasn't Celine Dion.
No, it was Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron's, I guess she wore it to the Oscars or something, whatever.
No,
And it was what, $3 million?
at least.
Yeah. She had it around her boxer. Like, this is good wealth. This is fun wealth. We need more of this.
Agreed. What I don't like about it, especially given what I see later from old Todrick, is the dynamic. The dynamic of these two is interesting. And I don't love the dynamic. And even in this scene where she's like sitting down, like, ooh, I want this, I want that. And he's like standing with his arms crossed, like watching this whole thing. I wouldn't have even batted an eye at it.
Well, she said he loves getting me gifts. And it didn't look like a man that loves getting gifts.
No, it looked like a dude that's like, I got a jewelry dealer coming down. Like, can we get this over with? And especially, again, given what we saw at the end of this episode, I'm like, this paints a different picture of what this dynamic is in this relationship and the $1 million in jewelry and, you know, the palms, all of it. All of it made me, I got a much different vibe and like a pit in my stomach a little bit.
I saw somebody point out, and I wish I could give credit to who it was, but I just saw it skimming on Twitter, saying that this is the new Erica and Tom.
Oh.
Now, I mean, I'm not saying that, you know, Todd's up to anything nefarious, of course.
Let me clarify. We're not claiming anything
vibes
like that.
and dynamic
Vibes
in
and
the
dynamic.
relationship. I could see it.
Yeah, I could see that too. And I think we're going to get more out of it, hopefully.
Or Todd's just never going to be on the show ever again.
That's fine too, honestly, which is such a fall from grace from having fun cat sweaters and shit.
He just went from like a fun, goofy old man to like a crotchety, annoying old man.
Old
fart?
Sure. That's not what I was going to say.
I heard an F in there.
Controlling. Yeah. I don't know where the F came from, but hey, whatever.
Controlling.
We got controlling. We get to the poolside / lakeside / pond side, whatever that body of water is. Sure. We're over sitting next to it. It's Meredith, JB, husband, boss, Lisa Barlow. Seth joins. And Seth has to... Fucking Seth, man. I feel like Seth shoots himself in the foot all the time. He doesn't do himself any favors. He walks over there with a Kalamata whatever drink, and it's fun. You know, he's got his bucket hat on. He's in vacay mode. He's going over to his friends and his wife, and he's like, oh, this is the life, guys. I'm out of here tomorrow.
This is the life for about 12 hours.
Yeah, I have to leave really fucking early.
To get back to Ohio.
Got to get to Columbus.
And I have to take a connecting flight through Minneapolis to get back to... I don't know what the fuck's going on. On a Sunday.
On a Sunday to get back to work... The only reason I like raised eyebrows, I mean, I felt bad for Meredith, and like this has been a sticking point before in their relationship. When she says it doesn't add up, I'm like, oh.
So I don't know if you saw the blind item floating around there.
No.
That there's a housewife that's imminently going to file for divorce because they wanted to do it before, but the timing wasn't right for the optics, but now the timing is right. And a lot of people underneath were like Meredith and Seth Meredith. And I didn't have any fucking clue. I'm reading through it. I'm like, why are they saying Meredith and Seth? This makes no sense.
Ooh.
And then you watch the episode and you're like, oh, maybe.
Maybe. I'm not
only because they highlighted this same thing happened before. The fact that she threw in the something's not adding up.
It doesn't add up. To me, it was like major red flag. I'm like, what is that mean?
That is a weird sentence to throw in there. It could be one thing if you're just annoyed that he's working all the time. I get it. Fine, whatever. But yeah, the something doesn't add up.
Very specific.
Yeah.
It's very specific and implies, obviously, immediately everybody's head goes to cheating.
Yeah.
And that's Meredith's fault, honestly, for phrasing it that way, unless that was intentional. But yeah, that was very interesting. That stuck out to me. I'm curious to see where that goes. I will say I don't love blind items because people can literally send in whatever they want. It does say, like, there's a disclaimer at least where it's like these are not corroborated pretty much or independently verified.
It got enough traction and enough people were saying, I've heard something similar. And it's like, oh. But again, they didn't use any names, of course. So, you know, who knows? We'll have to see in the next couple of months. And that sucks too, because I really do, when Seth was involved in this, and obviously we did see, I guess this probably happens in the next episode where he's getting involved and yelling shit from across the table. But before all of that, when he's involved, I got excited.
Yeah, I like Seth and Meredith together. I do remember, what was the name of their podcast? Like Hanging by a Thread or something?
Yeah, it was actually Hanging by a Thread.
Actually?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Is it?
Which also, that adds more into it.
Fuck.
God.
I need to make sure. We're doing a lot of research this episode.
We really are. Shout out Google. We love Google.
No free ads.
No free ads.
It is. It's hanging by a thread. Okay, this is damning.
Yeah, I'm ready to move the needle into this is damning evidence.
Bad. This just got a lot worse. Shit. So they might be on the
vibe
outs.
of the show is completely thrown off now.
Yeah, especially considering what he says, where he's like, she's got really high expectations,
dude,
and I never managed to get in one day. I can't hit all of them.
His confessional was awful.
Yeah.
That was awful, dude. What are you doing?
I think we just figured it out.
I do not care how much of like a hard place you and your wife are in, or you and your spouse. I just do not care. Do not go under your confessional and say that.
Not as a husband. Are you
God,
shitting
dude,
me?
Like, that's awful.
Yeah, tough.
Stupid.
Tough look, bad look, hanging by a thread.
Hanging by a thread.
Hanging by a thread. But we get to Angie and Whitney and Bronwyn, and Bronwyn, like I said, is picking up on the vibe. So she's doing that thing where you keep checking in with somebody, like, you sure we're good? Like, we're good, right? And she's like, you guys got everything you need? Like, everything's cool? And Lisa's like, yep, we're fine. We don't need anything ever. Again, little hints here. It's not very subtle, but she is showing it. And then when they go outside, Meredith and Lisa go sit on the other side of the pool or pond, whatever the fuck they are, and they're not talking to anybody else. The dudes are cornholing, and they're discussing what needs to happen for people to move forward. And it's like, well, Lisa wants an apology from Justin. Whitney wants one from Lisa. It's a mess. I think everyone's general consensus is this should be a wash. Like, no one apologize to anybody. Just move the fuck on from this. And Bronwyn, she's starting to see the cracks, which is interesting. It took this long because they've been friends allegedly for years at this point. And I think the difference is that she's now friends with Lisa Barlow, housewife, not Lisa Barlow.
And also around the housewife friends.
Right. So that's going to add a little bit more to it. And she acknowledges Lisa's not going to fucking apologize. Like, that's not going to happen. And Angie, you say it's a goof. I'm starting to see more and more why she is center snowflake, because she will at the very least be the one to be like, I'm going to go pour some shots. And she's next to the private chef. And I'm like, fuck, how do I get on one of these?
Right.
Right. And I could bring you, you could help me out. You could be the bartender.
Sure.
Like, this is we could do this.
The whole thing?
Yeah. If any Bravo.
Wait. Hold on. No, never mind. We need to practice what we preach here.
What?
We can't.
Oh, you're right.
Do that
No. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I don't want to get involved. No, good point.
Yep.
Maybe if we sign a thing, we go in, where it's like, yeah, don't put us in the show. We just want to be here and listen. Don't use this. Then they won't invite us. No, they would, because they don't give a fuck about us. Yeah, we're not part of it. Yeah. Back on. Plan's back on. But they toast. And it's nice to see all the dudes vibing. Like, initially, I'm like, all right, cool. The guys know their role. They're just having fun. They're playing cornhole. They're talking about how lucky they are, except for fucking Todd.
I like how Sean pulls Justin aside and he goes, I think it should just be me and Justin versus you two, right, guys?
Yeah, right, guys?
That was good.
Yeah, good move.
Yeah.
But that's it. They know their assignment. Stay out of the fucking bullshit. But we're at the hot tub with everybody, and that's when we get the outkick their coverage thing. And that's when I don't think Todd was kidding. I don't think Todd was kidding. When he's like, let me do you one better. They outkicked their coverage. I'm like, Todd, look at yourself. What are you talking about? Bronwyn is objectively...
Put your shirt back on.
If we're going to play this game, fuck it. Your wife is objectively gorgeous.
Yeah.
All of these women are objectively very attractive, okay? You didn't outkick nobody in this group. All right, you were correct the first time. You guys all outkicked your coverage, and you're aware of it. High five each other. Like, that's all you got to do. He's like, hands in, guys. We outkicked our coverage. I'm like, Todd, you're really burying yourself.
Todd, this is not locker room talk.
This is so. Fuck yeah. Nicely done. I just lost all track of where I was. Great line. But probably the worst thing / best thing for us, worst thing for friendships that Lisa could do while being on this trip, knowing there's tension between Bronwyn and Heather. The minute that Bronwyn goes inside is to be like, you know what, I really miss Heather. We should call her right now. We should FaceTime her in the hot tub of the house that we're staying at that Bronwyn's paying for. What a horrible idea. Great idea for us. I mean,
it started off as an I miss Heather, but it was basically a we already talked to Heather, but let's get her back involved again.
Yeah.
It was on the heels of having the conversation about what happened with Bronwyn and Heather. You saying, "Oh, I miss Heather. I'd like to." Lisa Barlow has never missed Heather.
Correct.
And said, let's get her on the phone because she genuinely missed Heather.
Correct.
Everybody can see that. Everybody knows exactly what you're doing. And you waited for Bronwyn to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Not a good move.
Terrible
Great move for the show. Bad move for you.
Terrible move. And Whitney jumps in, and that's the hard part for Bronwyn. She has Whitney advocating, and like that's going to fall on deaf ears. But Whitney, at the very least, does kind of lay it out. She's like, look, she invited her over to work things out. We all know in the housewives realm, certain things are not going to go to plan. You got to take what you can get sometimes. Here's an extension. Like you said, I do think that home field advantage probably played into it. Like, oh, you're summoning me to your house, and now you're telling me to earn my keep to go on this trip. That's bullshit. So I could see where she got kind of turned off by it. But we've seen so many times, all right, fuck it. That's a half-assed apology. Here's my half-assed apology. High five. Let's go to Palm Springs. So as they're discussing on the phone, and Lisa's like turning the phone at everybody, like say hi, and Bronwyn comes back out, and she's like, who's on the phone? It's like, it's Heather. And she's like, she puts on this shit-eating grin where she's like, okay. Confessional. She's like, this is fucking insane. And like, it is insane. It's extraordinarily rude to the hosts of the trip because you know that things aren't good. And she finally calls out. She's like, this is fucking weird. And like, this is shady as fuck. The minute I go inside, you guys want to pull this bullshit. And I don't care if you believe Heather. And then she lays it out for Lisa, like what the root of the problem is. And I fully agreed with her breakdown.
Yeah.
She's like, look, what you're saying is that you care about Heather's feelings. You're advocating for Heather. You're fighting for Heather. You believe her, whatever. You're saying you checked in with her after this whole thing to find out where she stood. When did you do that with me, who you claim to be just as good of friends with? But at no point were you listening to my side of things. Did you call me to get my side of things? And now that I'm telling you my side of things, you're telling me, well, I heard a different story. So you're taking Heather's side. This shows me, Bronwyn, where we actually stand. And it's even funnier because if the shoe was on the other foot, you would lose your fucking mind.
And in Lisa's mind, the shoe is on the other foot.
Yes, correct.
Because Bronwyn didn't check in with her after Whitney came after her at the anniversary party.
And that's what she
does.
And
she did. And thank God, and again, we can't say it enough, thank God that Bravo does us some justice and throws out the footage out there, because if you had said that, I wouldn't have remembered if Bronwyn went over and talked to Lisa afterwards. But when Lisa's in that state of mind, she expects everybody to huddle near her, and she doesn't really care if individuals are there. She just wants a show of support from the group.
Yep.
But you need to go the extra mile. You need to call her 75 times in the next week to discuss exactly what happened. And nobody in their right mind is going to do that because nobody wants to continue to talk about something like that, especially with how you are. So Bronwyn succinctly puts down Lisa and shows her exactly what happened. But in Lisa's mind, you did the exact same thing. What are you talking about? You never checked in with me. You're going over here, and clearly you didn't check in with Whitney and Justin to see if they're okay with us being here. You wanted to make sure that me and JB were going to be okay. Like, what?
Not true.
It's just not. She thinks that these things correlate. These things are exactly the same, and they're just not. And in her brain, it is. And no one else, like Meredith won't speak up on her behalf for that. She's just going to sit this whole thing out. Like, everybody's just like, what the fuck is actually going on?
But what she's actually doing, and she doesn't understand what she's doing, you're admitting fault then. Because you're saying, well, you didn't do it either. It's like, well, then you know what you did is wrong, and we have video evidence of her doing it. So now you have proven that you are in the wrong, and yet when this whole thing wraps up, by the way, you say that you deserve an apology from everybody. But what we did not need, and absolutely never, ever, ever need again from any husband on these shows, period, is somebody wading over, doggy paddling to the other side of the pool because he's too short to stand and hanging on a floaty going, why don't we call Heather? Why don't you fuck off, Todd?
See, I thought this was fucking hilarious. I thought that was incredible. The vision of him just floating across on that one little noodle. There's probably like 3 more noodles under there, but one little noodle going across like, hey guys, why don't we just call Heather right now? Were you not paying, like you paid attention when the voices started getting a little bit louder? Just stay the fuck out of it. You just had a rah-rah speech with the boys about staying out of it, about knowing your place on this show and in your marriages. Just stay over there.
Yeah.
Do some weird shit over there with the boys. That's all that really matters.
He's definitely straddling at least one noodle and floating on one.
That was my, in my head, he had at least one underneath and then one like under his butt.
Totally.
And then he had the one on top holding his arms up. So
so
kind of like scoot.
He's doing the broomstick.
Yeah, you know, like the rascals
yeah.
you might see in like a Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
But he was doing that with the noodles.
Okay, yeah. I
kind of rascaling over
He's
there.
rascaling over the doggy paddle rascal.
Yep. Yeah.
That's him swimming.
Yep. Let's get the underwater footage. Let's see what happens.
I just imagine his little feet kicking like duck under the water.
Oh, they're kicking really fast and he's not moving.
He's exhausted by the time he gets there. Why don't we just call Heather? But I love everyone's reaction. They're like, we did call Heather. Fuck off. Like, they fucking jump down Todd's throat, and he goes back to the dudes. And then Bronwyn brings up this double standard. It's like there's this fucking double standard where if I'm going through something or anyone's going through something, it's on us to go figure it out with the person. But if you're going through something, I got to ride your dick like it's my job. And I was like, that's shit talk.
Yep.
That's how you do that. No one else on this show knows how to do that.
It's also very true.
100% true.
It's so true. And everybody on the cast, everybody around there knows that that's true.
Yeah. And it's we've seen it for years. Other people on the show have seen it for years. They tend to fall back into the trap, but Angie's finally seeing the light. And this is the delusion that Lisa lives in. She's like, I didn't do anything wrong, and everyone can apologize to me once they figure it out. Like, I don't even feel bad. It's like, you should feel bad. And plus, you're about to get kicked the fuck out, which is kind of funny. The way that it's gone about is not funny, and we're about to talk about that. But we get Bronwyn and Whitney inside, and obviously Bronwyn's upset. They're like, look, if they had Heather's side or they have issues with me, then why the fuck are they on this trip? It's like, because it's a $20,000 a night Palm Springs house, and they're going to come on this trip. We didn't even talk about earlier when they walked into the house, and that's when Whitney likes to have rich friends. She legit says...
She says, I've never had a friend like this invite me on a trip like this.
It's nice to have friends like this.
Yeah.
That's a tacky-ass
We know what you're doing.
Yeah, tacky, gross. We don't like that. Act like you've been there before.
And then that's also her in this scene, coming in like, oh, I need to make sure that we're good.
Yeah,
She needs to look over at me and say, that's a real friend.
Totally.
She just said that nobody checks on her. Lisa's not checking on her. I can swoop in. You're not going to do anything, Whitney, because you can't do it. You're probably going to make it about you, and it's not going to really make any sense, but you can be there.
And she wants to. She's going to weasel her way in, and I'm very curious because in my mind, the Lisa Barlow that we've come to know does not want to lose a friendship with somebody as affluent as Bronwyn. Because the proof's in the pudding now. Like, you get to the house, like, holy shit. Like,
All right, Alexis.
I know, I keep doing it ever since that fucking episode. God damn it. But you see the wealth. Like, you can see it. You can fucking taste it. Like, this is real wealth. And I don't...
Yeah, but is the wealth too fresh?
It might be too fresh. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Italian food.
She needs some
wealth.
older wealth.
She needs some stale wealth. Got it. Not that fresh wealth. But yeah, I think I'm curious to see how next week goes because I don't think she wants to lose this friendship. And I think being threatened with getting kicked out, she's going to pull a 180 and go try to smooth it over. That's what I see happening. But I also could see Lisa being like, fuck you, I'm out of here. I'm on the camp of she's going to stay.
Yeah, and it's not that insane if she were to leave because it's apparently only a one-day trip anyway. Like, they're just going home on Sunday night anyway, so like it's not that like just leave with Seth in the morning.
Yeah.
Go to Minneapolis. Like, why not? Who cares? There's
see what's
connecting
going on
flights
there.
everywhere from there. I don't know. If I had to bet on it, I would say she's going to swallow her pride but not actually apologize. She's just going to keep things cool for the next 24.
Okay.
That's what I think is going to happen. I don't see them going home.
I don't think they're going to leave either, but we'll find out. But, I mean, it gets deeper. Like, Bronwyn obviously is going through that shit with her kid, trying to reconnect with the father of her child. And she's like, Lisa never checks with me about that. It's like, Lisa's not going to check on you. You're finally figuring it out. This is what's going to happen. But the episode ends in a very strange way. And like I said, we've been getting inklings. It hasn't come full throttle, and Todd walks in, and the first thing that I noticed, her demeanor does a 180, bro. Like, completely different. Like, shoulders down, looking at the floor, and Todd comes in like he's her father.
Yeah.
And he's like, I told you I wouldn't do this. I'll tell them to leave. I'm not going to do this all weekend. I've had enough in 3 hours for the whole fucking, like, the tone that he has, the way he talks to her, it was belittling, it was condescending, it was gross. Her reaction to it is weird. I felt bad for her in that moment. And then going to the confessional, being like, you know, he comes in with a machete. I wish he'd come in with a Nerf gun sometimes, but it's always a machete. I'm like, he shouldn't talk to you like that.
No.
Like, that's crazy.
No, he shouldn't talk to anybody like that. And he strikes me very much now as, and I've thought this before in the past with a lot of the rich people that are on these shows. Sometimes I wonder why they put up with it. Sometimes I wonder why, if this is how you are and you're very regimented in your life and your lifestyle, why would you invite this in to your life? And that's what I get from Todd. Todd seems like somebody who is very rich but very private and just tries to like go about his life. And the idea of bringing something like this into his life was probably something that Bronwyn really wanted to do. And he said, well, if it gets too fucking crazy though, I'm not going to deal with it.
Shut it
I'm
down.
going to shut it the hell down because I do not care. That's what I get from him doing this right here. You knew what you were getting into, but the first sign of this, and you saw it last week when they're having dinner, and at the end of the conversation, which we didn't really talk too much about because we didn't really know enough about Todd.
Right.
But at the end of that conversation, when Bronwyn is going over the things that are happening, eventually he just shuts down.
Yeah.
Eventually he just says, well, I don't want to talk about this anymore.
done with
We've already
this.
talked about this. It's like, ugh, all right, well, you know, you are on a TV show to talk about this, but whatever. I guess that's fine as long as it doesn't rear its ugly head.
I
and then it's
chalked it up
more.
as Todd's old.
Yeah, and now it's becoming he's old, rich, and controlling.
Yes, and I think that to further your point, I do think there's a level of wealth, and I have dealt with this before at dinners that I've cooked. Not my main clients. My main clients are all lovely, wonderful people. I'm not. It's people that like were guests of.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to think that if something is not to their liking, they don't have time for it,
Right.
and they have the control to be like, "Get the fuck out! I'm not dealing with this shit." It's like their time and energy is far more important than that of anybody else in the room.
Right.
I cannot stand people like that. They're my least favorite people in the world. Like I said, I interacted with a couple at these dinners, but that's what I immediately got. I was like, oh, you think that your shit's more important.
Yep.
So you're going to tell everybody what's about to happen. You're not going to ask questions. You're not going to hear your wife out. You're not going to try to reason. You're not going to try to understand and compromise. You're going to put your foot down because what you say goes because you have more money than other people.
Yep.
That's not true, Todd. And I don't like that about you. I really don't like Todd anymore. Todd went from like lovable old man to controlling dickhead very quickly.
Very quickly.
If he came outside to me, bro, if I'm JB husband boss and this
Yeah.
crotchety motherfucker comes up to me and goes, you guys might have to leave, I'd be like, fuck you, I'm out of here. And I'd take a shit. I would do an upper decker in the bathroom, take a shit, take the lid off the top, drop a deuce, get my shit and bounce.
Based on the status of their home with the shit everywhere, I don't think it would really affect
It wouldn't
them
even
that
be
much.
affected.
Um,
They wouldn't know it was there until a long time.
I guess at the very least, he did go talk to JB and didn't go right to Lisa.
I guess,
'Cause
but
that would have been a way more uncomfortable scene.
sure, but at the same time, you could argue that instead of going to the source, Lisa, he went to her husband to talk to the man about it.
Yeah.
If you want to play that card, I'm just saying, I do not like Todd.
Yeah.
I do not like Todd. I don't like how he talked to Bronwyn. I didn't like that scene. I thought it was uncomfortable. She looked uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime a husband walks in like the dad and puts his foot down and puts them in their place, like that's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
Just because you have money, who gives a fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Loser, go put on another. Your sweaters went from cute to stupid very quickly,
Very
sir.
quickly.
Yeah, and they're not stylish either. You look like an asshole. You look like one of those coin holders that are about to burst. You know, like when you get like a roll of quarters, but the middle's kind of fucked up. That's what that looks like.
I had no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. A roll of quarters, but the middle's kind of wonky.
Oh my god.
Dick bag.
Well, I did post a picture of Todd for our questions.
Ugh.
Yeah.
He looks like Santa Claus that got fired.
Let's get to some questions here.
Sure.
Yep, right away. AZ Roxy 63. Do you think Bronwyn's husband is a dick? She changes her demeanor to him. Yep,
Sure do.
sure do.
Well said, AZ
Roxy.
Roxy.
Travis Bowden. Do you think Lisa's going to play the victim against Bronwyn going forward?
No, I don't. I think she's gonna claim that Bronwyn's at fault, and she's gonna say she's better than that or some stupid shit, and be like, "I'll wait for an apology." So I guess that is victim. Yeah, you're
Yeah, a
right.
little victim. Yeah.
Right. All right, fine, dude. Relax.
From our friend Billy Big Deals.
Old Billy Big Deal making them deals, baby. Are you making deals today, dude?
I hope so. Is Seth just an awkward human or a bad actor? Him leaving felt like fake storyline for Meredith.
Perhaps
It was weird.
it was awkward.
It was very awkward. I think, you know what? I'm going to say he's just an awkward human.
he's a very awkward human. I've seen him in the bathtub. He's awkward, but he did have a toe in his taint, so
He did, yeah.
I would be awkward too. Unless you're into that sort of thing.
We don't kink shame here.
No kink shaming.
From Holy Beck's Batman, are the husbands of Salt Lake City officially at Jersey levels of overly
No,
involved?
God, not even close.
They are not even close, and they are borderline getting to an annoying part, but like they still have some work to do.
Yeah,
Before
look,
they actually get annoying.
they need to stop putting them on. It's tough when you're on a couples trip to not do that. I will give them credit again for saying things like "not our fight." we're not getting involved. We like the brotherhood pact thing, like we stay in our own lane and do our own thing. They seem to be self-aware. Could I see those lines being blurred very soon? Absolutely. They're tiptoeing, but I do not think they're not anywhere close to the Jersey husbands because they're not trying to start drama. But I do see that leaking into it. So we've gotten enough of them. They've done a decent job. Let's move past them now. But it's going to be tough because we're definitely going to get more Todd because they're going to, Bravo's going to hone in on that.
Yeah, and from Coco Nutso, interesting perspective, opposite of us. Todd showed them who's boss and that they're footing the bill for this vacation, not Bravo.
Bronwyn could have had the conversations then. Bronwyn could have said that it's her trip. Todd knew what he was getting into. It's a fucking housewife show. It's a reality TV show. He shouldn't be doing that. I thought it was embarrassing. I get what they're saying. Coconut, so like I get what you're saying. I understand where that's coming from. Yes, he's paying for this whole thing. You're on a reality TV show. All right, like it's about having some self-awareness in the moment and not doing that because it's embarrassing your wife.
And I think this will be our last one because there's two people that asked this and kind of pointed to it, and I said something about it earlier. So people are starting to notice. From Medusagram, did the Todd father chastising Bronwyn after the fight give anyone else Erica/Tom vibes? And the Jennifer Franklin also said, does Bronwyn and Todd give Erica and Todd energy? Well, Erica and Tom energy, not Todd. That's a double Todd.
A double Todd. Double entendre.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yes.
Nice.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah, let's end it there.
Fuck yeah. Bravo Bros are out of here.